America is shaken after a horrifying terror attack carried out by an Afghan evacuee once linked to the CIA. Chaos erupted near the White House when the attacker opened fire on National Guard troops, triggering panic, outrage, and urgent calls for accountability. Leaders across party lines condemned the assault as a senseless act of terror, demanding answers. Suspect Rahmanullah Lakanwal is in custody. President Trump has called for a thorough reinvestigation of all Afghan refugees brought in during Biden's administration. He said, if they can't love America, then they don't belong here. Trump described the shooting as a terrible act of evil and terrorism against the nation.
We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city.
Vice President J.D. Vance said this attack is a strong reminder why immigration rules need to be stricter. He stated the priority is to bring the shooter to justice and then deport anyone who isn't supposed to be here. He criticized Biden's policy of letting in unvetted Afghan refugees back in 2021.
We're still learning everything. We still don't know the motive. There's a lot that we haven't yet figured out. But what we do know is that a couple of National Guardsmen were injured in the line of duty. And first of all, I want everybody who's a person of faith to say a prayer for those two National Guardsmen, that they're able to spend Thanksgiving with their families instead of losing their lives, because I understand they're still in pretty tough condition. But I think it's a somber reminder that soldiers, whether they're active duty, reserve, or National Guard, our soldiers are the sword and the shield of the United States of America. And as a person who goes into work every single day in that building and knows that there are a lot of people who wear the uniform of the United States Army, let me just say very personally, thank them for what they're doing. We're grateful to them.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth assured that the government will stand firm to protect the Capitol. He said this attack, so close to the White House, simply won't be tolerated. The security improvements under Trump's administration remain historic, but threats like this remind us to stay vigilant.
The shooter shot in a cowardly, dastardly act, targeting the best of America, heroes willing to serve in Washington, D.C., serve for people they don't know and they've never met because they love their country and their capital and their community. They were willing to do dangerous things others were not because they love their fellow Americans. Someone decided to turn that into targeting National Guardsmen. That will only stiffen our resolve. We will never back down. We will secure our capital. We will secure our cities. In fact, this happened just steps away from the White House. It will not stand. And that's why President Trump has asked me, and I will ask the Secretary of the Army, to the National Guard, to add 500 additional troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C. This will only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful. The drop in crime has been historic. The increase in safety and security has been historic. But if criminals want to conduct things like this, violence against America's best, we will never back down. President Trump will never back down.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem called the Afghan shooter a depraved individual. She reminded everyone that he came in under Biden's refugee program 4 years ago. Noem also condemned the growing hostility against federal officers who serve to keep us safe. FBI Director Kash Patel promised that those responsible will be brought to justice. Because this was an attack on federal officers, the case is being handled at the highest level. The 2 National Guard members are still in critical condition as the investigation continues.
As you can see behind me, we have assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies to bring bear all of our resources to make sure we find the perpetrators responsible for this heinous act. And make no mistake, they will be brought to justice. Since this is an assault on a federal law enforcement officer, this will be treated at the federal level as an assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The FBI will lead out on that mission with our interagency partners to include the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, ATF, DEA, and we're thankful for the mayor's assistance in this matter, the Metropolitan Police Department and their skills in investigating homicides and gun shootings in this city is exceptional. We will work together collaboratively because this is a matter of national security, because it's a matter of pride.
Senator Jim Justice urged a quick review of every special visa applicant allowed in under Biden's watch. This call comes after the Afghan national was accused of shooting 2 Guard members. He stressed the need for increased federal scrutiny going forward. Former President Biden expressed on social media that the attack was unacceptable. He sent his prayers and support to the injured National Guard service members in the wake of the shooting near the White House. Biden predecessor President Obama also responded, calling for unity in his brief statement Friday. He offered prayers for both the victims and their families during this troubling time in Washington, D.C. The accused entered the United States in 2021 under humanitarian parole as part of the Biden administration's Operation Allies Welcome in the aftermath of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The White House was placed on lockdown following the shooting. Right-wing lawmaker Randy Fine even sought to blame Muslims for the attack and demanded action against Muslim immigrants in the country.